When I was in second grade, my best friend Emily started telling me strange stories about her house. She would always seem uneasy, her voice dropping to a whisper when she shared what had been happening. At first, it was just small things. Objects disappearing, strange creaks in the floorboards late at night. But as time went on, her stories grew darker and more unsettling. One day, while playing hide and seek in her house, she showed me something that had been troubling her for weeks. In her basement, which was cold and dimly lit, there was a small hole forming in one of the brick walls. The walls down there were made of rough cinder blocks, and the hole was appearing in the mortar between them. It was tiny at first, no bigger than a coin, but Emily swore it hadn't been there before. By the time we were in fifth grade, the hole had grown noticeably larger. You could fit most of your arm into it, though it was still narrow. Emily and I had a curious streak, so we dared each other to reach inside. No matter how far we pushed our arms, we couldn't touch the back of the hole. It seemed to go on forever, like a tunnel. But that wasn't the strangest part. Emily swore she started hearing whispers coming from the hole at night. She said it sounded like people murmuring in a language she couldn't understand. I visited her house often, but I never heard the voices myself. Still, I could see how much it terrified her. Emily would barely sleep, her eyes always darting around like she was waiting for something terrible to happen. Emily's house itself was unsettling. Her family had a huge collection of pets. Dogs, cats, birds, rabbits, and even a few exotic animals like snakes and a parrot that mimicked voices perfectly. The basement was where they kept a lot of the animal supplies, and strangely enough, Emily's pets seemed to avoid it at all costs. Her dogs, usually playful and brave, would refuse to go down the stairs. The cats, on the rare occasions they ventured down, would freeze and stare at the hole in the wall, their fur bristling. Then the disappearances started. Emily's pets would vanish for hours, sometimes even days. When they were finally found, they would always be in the basement, sitting stiffly near the hole, staring at it as though in a trance. No one could explain it. Her parents brushed it off as animals being weird. But Emily and I both knew something wasn't right. One weekend, during a sleepover at her house, I started noticing more unsettling details. Emily's bedroom was filled with stuffed animals of all shapes and sizes. They were everywhere, on her bed, her bookshelves, even hanging from the ceiling in nets. That night, we stayed up late talking and watching movies. When we finally fell asleep, it was well past midnight. The next morning, we woke up to find every single stuffed animal had been moved. They were stacked in the middle of the room in a pyramid-like structure almost as tall as we were. Every stuffed animal was positioned to face her bed, their glassy eyes fixed on us. We were frozen in terror. Emily swore she hadn't done it, and I knew I hadn't either. The sheer effort it would have taken to pile them all up without waking us was mind-boggling. Some of the toys had been on high shelves or inside closed cabinets, and yet here they were, perfectly arranged. We put the animals back, trying to convince ourselves it was just some weird prank. But the next night, things escalated. Around 3 a.m, we were jolted awake by a loud creaking sound coming from under the bed. It sounded like the wooden floorboards were straining under someone's weight. Terrified but curious, we leaned over the edge of the bed and peered underneath. What we saw made my blood run cold. One of the floorboards was slowly lifting up, as though someone or something beneath the floor was pushing it. Then, with a loud snap, it slammed back into place. We bolted upright, too scared to move. Emily clung to me, tears streaming down her face. The room was silent, but the tension was suffocating. We stayed awake until the first light of dawn, clutching each other and staring at the floor, afraid of what might happen next. The following morning, I begged my parents to come and pick me up. I couldn't stay in that house another night. Emily begged me not to leave her alone, but I was too scared. I promised I'd see her at school and that we'd talk more about what was happening. But after that weekend, I started avoiding her. I felt guilty, but the fear was too much. Emily's life only seemed to get worse after that. At school, she became withdrawn and jittery, her grades slipping as her anxiety grew. Teachers noticed and tried to help, but her parents didn't seem to take her seriously. The last time I spoke to her was at the end of the school year. She told me the hole in the basement had grown so large that she could crawl inside it if she wanted to. She said she often heard noises coming from deep within it, scraping sounds, whispers, and occasionally faint laughter. Then she said something that still haunts me to this day. I think whatever's in the walls wants me to join it. After that, Emily and her family moved away. I never saw her again, but I couldn't stop thinking about her in that house. Over the years, I've pieced together my own theories about what might have been happening. I believe there was someone or something living within the walls of her house. Maybe it was a person, someone who had found a way to hide and move through the structure without being detected. Or maybe it was something not entirely human, something that thrived on fear. The stuffed animals, the disappearing pets, the whispers, everything seemed designed to unnerve us, to break us down mentally. It was like the house itself was alive, feeding off the fear it created. To this day, I can't walk past a stuffed animal display without feeling a chill. I still have nightmares about that hole in the wall, about what might have been lurking just beyond the edges of the darkness, waiting for us to notice it. And I still wonder what happened to Emily, and if she ever found peace, or if the thing in the walls finally got what it wanted